Okay, so here we are with our modular pieces all laid out for us in a row. All we're going to do at this point is start unwrapping and texturing them. If we look at it here, this one's been done, this one's been done, this one's been done. We need to do this one. So the process of doing this is what we're going to go over today. If I look at my multi-sub-object material, I have 3 materials I actually used onto these objects here. But it's kind of hard to read if you haven't seen this before, so I'll show you a trick. All you have to do is delete these original ones, do an eyedropper, and select one of the ones you've already got done. And lo and behold, it makes a multi-sub for you. Really, whether this is here or not, it's still a multi-sub, but some people like to see that, so it makes it easy. And that way you know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna, oops. So I'm going to select this object and just throw the multi-sub on it by throwing it on the object. This only has one ID, so it by default put the stone onto the object right there. What I'll do is I'll grab this and also get rid of everything else, isolate selection. Now if I look at the geometry in this, there's some places I'm going to want stone for sure, but there's some places I may not. And also it's twice as wide as it really needs to be, so what I'm going to do is just delete half of it, because you know how much I like to work in mirrored stuff. So the first thing I always do is do the materials I want on what. So we've already got the stone on there. Now I just need to figure out where I want to put the trim. So I'm going to start looking at the polygons here and just grabbing sets of polygons. If I do it right, not that one, maybe this one, and probably this one. And probably this one. I'm going to go ahead and do it in here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in here at this point. So, and then I've got those things selected. I might as well, that's a lot. You know what, let's take this one off. This is the big choice, right? You got to figure out what you want to do, when you want to do it, and how it's going to look. It's all about aesthetics here. Do I want this all the way around it? Probably going to put it on there. Okay, so you've noticed I haven't grabbed any of these edge pieces yet, but I do want those in the trim. How do I do that? The easiest way is just to say grow, and it'll just grab everything on those edges for me. So it just grabbed all the ones, the next polygon adjacent to where we are. I'm not going to put one there. I'm not going to put one there. I probably may end up putting one there, but for right now, I'm going to leave it. So since I already have the material assigned to it, all I need to really do at this point is figure out what ID I want to use. And if you want to remember, I had trim 1 and trim 2 were the other 2 IDs, ID 2 and ID 3. I'm just going to go to ID 2 to make our life a little bit simpler today. So I'm going to set anything that I have selected that I know I want to put trim on to ID 2, just like that. Now, it looks like crap, right? All this stuff is all over the place, that's fine. That's all I really wanted to do at this point to get to here. We're gonna come back and probably change a couple of things as we go. I might put the trim in here and might take it off of here, who knows. So now we need to talk about a couple really quick things. We need to talk about textile density and some of the mistakes that we did when we made those maps for this class, or for this project. We made them all the same size. So what I'm going to do to make the textile density work out, rather than cut them up and do a bunch of things we could do to them, which we can talk about another time, is I'm just going to do my trim sheet texture at a 1024 and then my environment map at a 2048. That'll leave the 2048 will be the textile density that we're going to use, giving us 2048 for 1 meter of area, and that'll make the trim technically a quarter the size, which is probably a little bit better for this one. Now we could have both of them, so if some of the other trim I was going to use is really big, then what we can do is do the 2048 version of it, and that way we have 2 versions of the same trim. So not the most clean way to do it, but it'll work for today just to get the textile density all set up. So let's talk about that textile density. So there's a tool, there's a Mac script right here that I've already installed, and I'll put the link to where and how to install it and get it to work inside of the video. But it's really easy to use. Basically, you're saying that I want a 2048 Texel density environment, meaning that's the resolution at a 1 meter by 1 meter object is going to have 2048. And this is the size of the map you're using on it. So if I come in here to this object and I go UV unwrap and I say open, and take a look at it, we've just basically, oh, you know what, I screwed up. Let me come back out of there, deselect this, then do the UV unwrap, and then say open. If I take a look at it, it's just all flattened out and everything like that, no big deal. So what this will allow me to do is, first thing I'll probably do is just do the color thing. So if you didn't know, if I have two materials on here, all I have to do is select material 1 and then come in here and say material, I don't even have to select it actually, and this will only show me material 1, and it's going to show me the texture it's using, so that works out pretty good too. The other thing that we could do is now that I have it this way, what I'll do real quick is I'll say mapping, flat mapping, and we'll check it real quick to make sure. We'll just do this. Check it to make sure it's all set up. It's all those pieces. It's all the pieces we're going to use. And actually, anytime you do this and you decide you want to change something, it's not that hard to fix. So in this case, I'm going to change this one and maybe, yeah, just leave it all stone, because again, this is going to be sticking into a wall, so it's fine. So how would I do that? Well, I can't grab it right now. As you can see, all I can grab is ID1. So what I'm going to do is come over here and either go all IDs or go to ID1 and grab it. I'm going to grab it and try and make sure that I grab whatever part of it is needed, just like that. Probably that. Check down here. I'm going to grab this and this too. I'm going to grab this. I will go ahead and grab this, not that one, this one, and this one, and this one. Just to make my life a little easier, I'll grab all these little pieces too. And I probably could clean that up. But I want to make sure that I grab everything that is ID2. And if you see me selecting this, which you can see it's ID2, I'm just going to go in here and set ID to 1. Just like that. Just like I do inside of the additive poly. And if I do that, and it looks like nothing's changed, but as soon as I click off it, it pops, and you'll see it disappeared from my UV2 or my ID2. So I'll come back to base stone, and lo and behold, it's there now. So if I do this again, tools, and I'll just say flat mapping, and okay. Okay, since we're using a bigger texture on this one than we are on the other one, what I do now, probably actually, you know what I do now is I clean this up, but just to show you how this textile density works, we're going to jump back and forth in here anyway. I would change this to a 2048 because that's the size of the resolution of the texture, and then I just say set, and there it is. That's how dense it should be on a 2048 texture for the size of this object. Remember, this is based off the scale of the object. So cool, works. Let's go to the other side over here, do trim, and grab all of this, and let's see what it does when I do a flat mapping real quick, just to get it all laid out. I probably want to turn them sideways like this, just because they're more horizontal. And then if I come up here and I change this map to a 1024, essentially scaling the texture size for all of these trims down by 3/4, so it's 1/4 of the size, which for something small makes sense. We don't want a huge resolution change from here to here. So, and then I just say set, and it'll do this. And if you look, this almost works perfectly inside of these now. So there you go. That's the reason I'm doing that, and it's going to help when we get it together. The only thing I want to make sure you understand is when I come back out, if I try and say like, show me this checker pattern on here, you're going to see there's two different densities of textures. That's because we only have one UV texture size in this version. For us to see the right thing, these almost need to be separate objects and things. Right now it looks like it's using let me come over here and see. Yeah, it looks like it's using the 2048 base. And then if you look at this is smaller. So it makes sense. All right, let's come back to the trim one, go back to the material that we're gonna use, and let's just move this stuff out of the way like we like to do, get it out of the way, and start doing our placements. So I'm gonna just kind of randomly pick what I want where. I'm gonna go ahead and say this one, find out where that is. I'll just grab that,
in that. Let's see, maybe I won't grab this. Not this, yes, that, no. And then I'll do that plus over here. And this one. Okay. Alright, we'll do it over here then. There we go. And it just grabbed everything in that row. Okay, so grab the next pixel over, so it made it really easy for me. Now, I'm going back to my old school way of just doing a quick snap to get it set up. Okay, and I'll probably push this again in a minute, but you know, I just wanted to show it before we went into it. I'll grab this one, and I guess I don't even need to grab that one. I can go plus, it should grab them all, and then I'll do that same thing, do that. Well, the big thing that I don't know if I like is what I'm going to do is change this so it's going straight. So in this case, it should be like this, and then I'll do, let me see, because I want to keep the, yeah, you know what, let's just do it the other way. So we'll go back to this and just do that. So now I've got that one. I think I lost the other one. No, it's right there. Okay, we'll do this one. And this one I'm just going to grab because those are overlapping right there. So I'll just do this. Pop. And this one I still want to keep it horizontal, so I'll move it over here. And really the big problem I'm going to have is that the scale of them is, since it's tilted and stuff, but that's okay, we're going to fix that in a minute. Okay, so we've got those done, at least out of the way, right? I like to organize my stuff by moving them out of the way, or in the way in this case. So I'm going to look at this one and just go, no, I'm going to grab, just like we did before, I'm going to grab this one, and do that plus, so it grabs all of them. And then I'm going to say, in this case, sure, why not? It's going to bend it maybe, but that's fine. We're going to straighten it out because it's better, even though it won't be exactly, it may be stretched a little bit in the UVs, it's still better to have it stretched in the UVs like that than it would be to have it be all angled. Because, especially for this kind of stuff, you want this straight. You want it for trim. So we'll do this, oops, bad. Do this, and then this. So now I've got that one set in there, move that up, check this one. This one we just didn't move it in the right spot, move it over here. These are the done pieces. Take a look at this one. So we'll just do this, click this and this, do the plus, and it should grab everything for us. And if you want to see what it's grabbing, oops, push F2 and you can see that in there. So then I'll just do a quick, move it to where I need it. And that should be all the strips, right? Oh, we have something over here being weird. Let's see what that is. Oh, it's something that was left over. So let's change that back to A1. Yeah, missed. Okay. So let's come back in here. We have this sort of set. We're going to have to play with it. Obviously, there's some stretching and stuff in some places. But we'll take a look at that in a minute. All right, so let's take a look at this. And we'll start with the top one. This is the smallest one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first clean up my UVs on here. So I'm going to take this and do something. I have to do these separately only because of the way, actually, you know what we can try first? Let's do this. Let's do this and say set. There. That's the scale they need to be. And some of them are going to be big and we're going to definitely shrink them, but they're going to be very close to the right resolution. So I'm going to go to edge mode and then I'm going to grab these. And in here, there's these two dots. If you have the two dots next to each other and I take like this one and do this, it'll just snap it together and then I'd have to go through each of them. But if I take all of them at the same time and then come to this one where the dots are on the opposite sides of the line, it'll straighten it out for me right there. And that's good enough for that. And then I'll take this and do, what I usually do is I'll grab a chunk and then I will say this, I think, wait, did I click the wrong one? Yeah. I'll go this way. And you can see that this one actually went around the corner, so we want to make sure we don't do that. And again, sometimes my belief is it's easier to deselect than it is to select. But now that I have this set up, I can do that. And you can see that it messed this up, but that's okay. We're going to take this, and do this and that, and try this. And then do the same thing for this one. Pop. Oops. Like that. And then we'll fix this one. Keep grabbing that. There we go. Okay, we'll take a look and see what it looks like. And it's okay for now. You know, we kind of want it to bend around the corner anyway. Same thing for this one. We'll just take all of these edges. Maybe we should do the other ones first. That'll work better. Take all of these interior ones first. Do this so they go all the way up. Oh, hello. That was interesting. Okay, we'll do it this way. Bump. Hello, Max is being slow as usual. Take it this way. Nope, the other way. This way. So it goes across the whole surface. And we'll try it this time this way first, and then we'll come to these two. And we'll do this way. Oops, and I missed one. This way. And it still didn't change much. We still got to fix. Oh, because they're angled. I got it. So I'm gonna just leave these the way they are. And do that. And then grab these. And do this. And deselect this again. And do this. And we'll just move this one. This one, just do that. Move it down a little bit. Take this one, move it down a little bit. And let's see how that looks down there. It's close. We'll need to dance with it. It's probably too thick. And that's easy enough. We just pull it in a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we've got that one. This one, we're gonna have that same problem. So we'll just do this first. And what I'll do is speed this up. Okay. Okay, so let's go back in here, and we should have our Texel density right. And if we click this again, I don't think it breaks. Yeah, it doesn't break our unwrap. It just changes the scale. So let's take a look at what we're talking about here. I'm gonna pull this back down a little bit. Pull this up here just to hide it. All right. So this is our biggest one, right? This is our biggest pain in the behind. Now we could come back in and just do something simple with it, but let's do the other ones first anyway. So let's move this out of the way. And then we're gonna come to this one, which is the side one. I'm gonna move it out of the way too. I'm gonna take this one, and it should be this one, right? They should be the same height. If they're a little bit off, that's my modeling issue, meaning that they're not quite the same width or whatever. So in this case, I'm just gonna do it simple by grabbing it and grabbing it. The width is fine. I'm just trying to get them all lined up here. like that. Now, some of this is hackery, some of this is the way we've done it before. So take it with a grain of salt and do what works for you, and obviously do what your boss says more. So if you work for somebody who wants, or a boss who wants you to do it a certain way, guess what? That's the right way, not my way. Here. Apparently I didn't turn off my other one, so it did it nice and even for me. This, and then that. Okay. And I probably could do it for the top, but let's just go forward with this. So these two, and really this should be the same height too, and we'll get to that in a second, but the big thing about these is this is a mirror, right? So what we need to do is make sure at least, if I come to 3 and I go, oops, let's move this over so I can see what I'm looking at. Oh, this here. If I go to 3 and I say, like, grab this one, I want these two to line up here for sure. Okay, this part, this part in the middle is great if they do, but that's not as important as this part. Because this is the mirrored edge, so when I mirror it, it's gotta at least be at the end. So the big thing we have to do in this case is just move this to figure out where we want it for sure. I'm gonna turn off F2 so I can take a look. And I'm gonna use, I think this one up here works really well for this. Like that. And it's got a little bit of a diagonal thing going on here, and that may be because of this edge. So we can just come over here and do this, and it should be on both of them. Let's turn off the all. Take this one, which are opposite. So we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Just grab them, and deselect where they're being grabbed in other places. Set it. Oh no, let me see something. Okay, one thing I should tell you is that when you do attach pieces back together in here, when you just change their UV IDs, then make sure you detach them. I didn't detach anything, so now every time I move something in there, it's moving stuff in here, and that's why we've got this weird stretcher. So I'm gonna do mapping again real quick, flat mapping like that, and then I'll do a quick 2048 for this one. Say set, and there we go. I'll come back out of there, and now I know that they're separate pieces. Okay, so to get this to be straight, I need to have that diagonal correct. So I want each of them to have that diagonal. And there's a couple ways we could do it, but the easiest way for right now is just to grab this one, do a plus on it, so we grab that one, and flip it, meaning that mirror it. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to mirror it. And the reason I'm going to do that is because this top piece right here, if we look at this now with them flipped, they both are going to the higher. See how it's twisted out that way? That's what I want. I can move it back after I do this. This is just for me to move it to get it set up the way I want. Just like that. Oh, I can turn this on too to see where I'm at. We'll get to that in a little bit. But then I can either flip it back or not. In this case, I'm going to leave it the way it is, because that allows me to try and line things up on the bottom part too. So in this case, I'll just go back to here and go to 2 on one side, do that one and this one so they're lined up, that one, this one, they're lined up, that one, this one, they're lined up, that one, this one, they're lined up, and that one, this one, they're lined up. Oop, I missed one. Because, oops, let me try that again. Boom, boom, okay. Because now if I match one with the edge over here, it should match them both really close. Okay, so now I've got this, generically speaking, it's not a bad match. I've got a little bit of a bevel on the top, on the bottom here. So probably what I should do is take this whole thing, meaning it's also really close to the same Texel density here. So let me do this, go to 2 and do this real quick. Slap them together so they're all lined up exactly perfectly, because it'll make my brain itch and it'll make people happy if they come in and see your stuff all clean. So you always want to try and keep your stuff clean, and I should have done these all at the same time. Oops. There we go. This one and this one. There we go. And do this. Now those are lined up. this one, and this one, and this one. Line them up. This one, this one, this one. You can't do it across two, that trick with the two lines. It can't do it, it doesn't understand what you want for two objects or two set paths. So, you know, I just do it by hand. And there's some ways you can get around with all this stuff and you can find tools and do all this dance, but you know, when it comes down to it, you just got to get it done. So sometimes you just do it. Okay, so that's fine. Now we just need to find this one, which again should be right on top of it too. Really close to the same resolution here. And oh, one more thing I was going to do. I was going to come back into here, 3, grab all of these and mirror it. See how this is going over the edge here but not up there? I'm going to go ahead and try and just do both of them having a little bit of edge showing. So there's some of that. And again, this is depending on where we're looking at it from, and we can mess with that, tweak with that a little bit. Again, this is really small too, so for when we see it in the game, it'll not look as important. Okay, so we'll come back to this one. Move it up here. Scale it using Control key, so it's a uniform scale. Yeah, I'll probably reset those edges again. Sometimes it's cathartic, it feels better, but okay. Now let's look at this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this till we think it looks pretty good. It's not horrible, but it's not great. So what we can do is try and figure out where this edge is. That's that one. Okay, good. And we'll grab both of them and we'll move it over a little bit. So it's giving us a little bit more of a stretch, and maybe come back to one and just move this down or up a little bit. And if we do that, then we can move this over and get a little bit straighter, so we don't have that stretching on the other part. Maybe this goes down a little bit more still. Okay. And then we can see that over here is the edges of the one we've selected. So we should just do this too real quick. Boom, boom. Okay. They're opposite. So you really gotta pick one, and really what I should do is divide this in half too, but that's fine. I'll just flip this way, okay? And now at least I can get an idea of where things are setting up. Now we don't need it perfect. This is trim on the second thing, and if we had time, if we were working on this for a living, we probably would mess with that, but for now, we're just gonna take these and do this, so they're all on the same page. This go up and over, and you can start to see maybe they're working out, maybe they're not, because look at their opposite. So you've got to kind of eyeball it here. That's the top up there. That one doesn't bother me. It's this one, and that one's okay too, but we can probably take both of those and move them back just the slightest amount. And then take this one and just try and get it all set up nice. Back a little bit, maybe something like that. Sometimes you find happy accidents, sometimes you don't. So what I could do, what I probably will do, is I'll put a gold trim right there so it just goes right across both of them. That way I don't have to fight with it. But there's, you know, you're gonna have this happen from time to time where you've got to find a way to make this look great. And you know, there's only so much you can actually do without building it a certain way. So you look for the happy accidents, and if that doesn't work, then you figure out how to make them look like they're on purpose. Enough that people aren't going to notice them. Remember, these are all flat and easy to see the errors in here. But if we open up Unity, hold on. Remember, this is the resolution they're going to be in the game engine. They're going to be, you know, much smaller, you know, the perfection that we're putting into this is going to pay off in some ways, but not like 100%. So just keep that in mind as you put all this hard work into everything, that you make sure you realize what perfection works and what doesn't, because time is of the essence when you're working. Okay, So I've got that kind of set up there, and I'll export this out and put it in the engine too before we're done. Now I just have to do this to this, and what I'll do is I'll speed these up, and then you can see me do these slower here. So you can see me do these. Now one thing I am going to try, and the hard thing to figure out is this one. And I guess this one. This one up here is small. I can probably find a nice happy little home for this somewhere, overlaying something like this maybe, and that may be too much. You know, you can also go the other way. We could come down here and see if we can find something like here. That's right there. See, it's really big. And then see about scaling this up. How bad does it look? Yeah. You know, I might really just want to do something simple. We'll come back to that one at another point. But let's take a look at this one. This one actually works pretty well. It's really close as we saw before. So I'm going to put this here for now and take a look at it and see if I like anything that's going on, how it overlaps here. I kind of like that. Now what I could do is I could come back in and change the model a tiny bit and do that, but I'm just going to make our lives a little bit easier today and do this. Actually, what I should do is control and scale it this way, because that way they're fitting inside of it as well, so they're getting the right, more or less, proportions on this here. So let me pull this down a little bit. I think I went too far. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these in a second too, but for now, really the important one, if you remember, is this edge here. So this edge is the one that is going to be mirrored across the surface here. So now I've got that. Now look at this edge over here, and it's cut off a little bit, so let's take a look and see how much, if we stretch this, that breaks it. They're pretty good. Okay, so now we have this one, this last one. I guess I'm not going to do this fast. If I am, then you won't be hearing this. And this one's really big. So I probably could cut this in half, but maybe, you see how this one's got some overlapping edges and stuff? This may work. We can pull this in, control again, pull this in so it's going there, and pull it in so it's going here. And there we go. Again, it's a little bit off. We're talking about Texel density here, but it's not crazy amounts. And then again, I can pull this in a little bit here just to get it to stretch completely the way we want. Oh, apparently I moved it. This one, let me do it this way. This one needs to be right here. And then we'll come back over here and we do back to probably where close to where I was. I went the other way this time. There we go. Okay, so one more thing I'm going to show you. Some more tricks. Oh, real quick, let me show you a couple more things actually. So now we've got these pieces all over the place. Just remember, this is one, and this is number one, this is number two, number three, right? So if I take these and I grab them, and I know that down here in Y is the move up and down. If I just type in -2, it'll put them into that area. I also like to try and keep my UVs forward and not to the negative. It's an old school thing that we had problems with, so in some of the engines I worked in, so I just do it that way. And let me type it in, huh? So all you have to do again is come here, grab this one, grab that, and say I'm going to go positive in the U. Right now it looks like it's probably 2. So it starts in this negative space, and then I can go 1 for this one. This positive space. So it always starts here. And again, we get that. This one actually looks like it can be moved a little, I don't know why actually I did what I did on this middle part here. Okay, so we've got, oh my gosh, you're killing me. This one also, you want it to be a straight edge here. So 2, double click, oops, double click, and then do this, because this is where it's gonna meet. Okay. Come over here. We don't want this dying in the middle because it's in the middle of the piece here. So I'm going to move this so it's in the middle there. Okay, so here's a trick. A couple more cleanup things. Take this one and we'll go over 3. And 1. This one. And we'll go over 2. Oops. And this one, we'll go over 3. And you know what, I'm going to say fine, -1 on this one. So they're not all starting in the middle, but they're all kind of put it around the middle here. Take this one and go -1, 2. Oops, that's times. Okay, so the other thing I want to look at is some of the stuff, this trim, obviously has an ending weird in some ways and other things like this piece right here. So what I can do with this one, for example, is I can take this, break it, and then rotate it and put it up on a bead. And then try and get it to look, turn that off there, the way I want. Something like that's not horrible. Just gonna do that. Don't like this one. Again, not a big tail. Just trying to get something that looks pretty good from. Okay, so now we got that, and those are all set up. And let's just take a look at it in game. We have the materials already set up, so we just can convert to editable poly. Take a look at the front here. Go to the move. So in this case, I will do a symmetry here, and of course in the X, and of course it goes the wrong direction, so we're going to flip it maybe, and then use the move tool inside of here and move it so it goes to there. There's a lot more tricky stuff we can do here too, but yeah, so I'll just do that, collapse to an editable poly. And if we don't want our mirror to be showing up so prominently like here, we can take that and change it. But for now, we'll just leave it and we'll export it, and I'll send it over to test head stand. Sure, I'll come up with better, more original names eventually. Come back over to Unity. Inside of Unity, we should now have test head stand. I'll throw it in here. You can see it's already got textures on it. Move this up. And over. And there we go. Okay, and let's see where would this go. Normally this goes over here. So we'll take this, rotate it. Probably should just type in 90. Let's do -90. Move tool. Like this. What we could do, actually pretty close. Let's come over to this block in. Grab this one. That's the whole wall, huh? Okay, well we could build it now that we have these pieces too. But for now we'll just do this. And there we go. Okay, and we have this other one there, so if we come back to here, we can hide it real quick. And there's the pieces. All right, and that's it. And I'll talk to you later.